Hi, this is Paul from finishYourSong.com, and I want to round out this short series of videos looking at plugins for reamping by clarifying something that I talked about in an earlier video, which I've rightly been taken to task by Dr. Max Zero for, in that I was talking about how the Waves plugins in particular come with a mono to stereo version. And he's rightly reminded me that if you put a stereo effect on a mono track, you still end up with a mono output. So I thought we'd have a look at that and a couple of ways round it. The, if you like, proper way to do it, and then a cheap and nasty cheat. So first of all, let's have a look at what the issue is. We've got here the Les Paul from How Soon Can I Leave, and by now you'll all be horribly familiar with this. It's a mono signal, so if we have a look at the channel, you'll see that what we're getting is the left and right markers bouncing equally. Okay, so on the insert I've got the CLA mono to stereo for CLA guitars, and if we have a look when I play it, you'll see that it thinks it's giving us a stereo output. What we'll do is we'll put the stereo spreader on so that you get the maximum amount of difference. You could quite clearly see the outputs going up and down alternately left and right. So it thinks it's putting out a stereo signal. But of course, this is a mono track. Now what I've done so that we can actually see is I've routed the output from this through an output bus track. So if we have a look at the channel here, I'll just reset that. I'll set this going and you'll see what happens. All our stereo-ness has gone away, because although the output from the CLA guitars is in stereo, in reality it's a mono output, so it's being perceived at the bus as being a mono signal. So how do we get round this? The answer is to route the output from the clean channel to an effects channel. So if we add an effects channel, what I'll do is I'll go back into here and I'll get rid of that altogether. What I will now do is we'll route that. That goes to the output bus, and that will still go to the output bus, but we will create a send that goes to CLA guitars. So now what we're doing is we're sending this signal to there, and both signals are arriving at the output bus. So we'll now see what we get here. Well, we're getting stereo. We can quite clearly see this dancing left and right. The problem is, what we've got here at the output is a blend. We've got this and we've got this, and there's a problem, because what we want is just this. We want the reamped signal. We don't want any of the clean. So what we'll do is we'll set it going, and I will slowly fade out the clean signal so you can see what happens. Oops. The problem is, as we fade out the clean sound, the send to our effect is also faded out. So what we end up with is no sound at all. So we're still not where we want to be. The answer, as those of you who are familiar with sends, is to make this send pre-fader, which in Cubase you do with that menu option. It goes a fetching shade of turquoise, or whatever you want to call that. Now, doesn't matter where that fader is, the send is controlled by that and only that. So we can now set this going. And we have stereo output from our effect. However, do you really want to go and faff around like that? There is a simpler and quicker solution. What we will do is we will remove that track, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a track, but I'm going to add a stereo audio track. And I'm just going to call this stereo, can't spell, stereo guitar. Add that, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that. In fact, I'm not going to copy it, I'm going to move it. So my mono signal is now on my stereo channel. We'll just route that through the stereo bus so you can still see that I'm not cheating. And we'll have a listen to what we've got. Joy of joys, we're back in mono. However, if I now take my insert and add theory, we could add the stereo to stereo, but I'm not going to. There's my CLA guitars, and I'm just going to pull up that DI Les power that we've been using. Maximum stereo width, and now let's have a look-see what we get at the output of that. Lo and behold, stereo effects from a mono audio track. The trick is put them on a stereo audio track in Cubase and you get the result you're looking for. Hope that helps, and apologies for any confusion, and once again thanks to Dr. Max Zero for just tapping me on the shoulder over that one. So until next time, you take care of yourselves.